Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. It is the Sunday night show. I am Gav, that is Matt, and before anybody wonders, where's the lads? Well, the lads are off doing stuff, right? They have lives, they've stuff going on. It didn't work for them tonight, but I'm delighted that Matt,
Doesn't say much about me and you.
no, after doing the post-match show, Matt has very generously agreed to come on here tonight. Or I could have just went, look, none of the lads available, we're not doing that. But we said, no, we won't do that. We'll have another nice chat. Of course, Matt hosts the post-match show, so he has to listen to all the others talking about the game. So it gives Matt a chance to talk about the game tonight. We will talk about the game. We will talk about what's coming up during the week for Liverpool as well. And, of course, what's coming up on the channel during the week. If you have any comments on today's game or anything in particular, make sure to throw it in the chat. We mightn't read it out immediately, but any of the good ones I do, or any of the ones I think is going to work with what we're going to talk about, I put a little star beside them and then I come back to them. So we aren't ignoring you. Now, here we go. Matt, Liverpool, 95th minute, penalty, and they just do it again. People are saying, you can't get away with this. I'm quite enjoying it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Kev's not been the biggest fan of it so far on the
I don't want
post-match
Kev.
shows I've done with him. But he's a little older, you know. He might have a creaky valve or something like that. But if you can continue to find ways of getting it over the line, and we can, then what's to stop you from continuing doing it? I mean, somebody brought up the amazing line on the post-match show for a different reason, but you can't win a Premier League going down to the wire 38 games. Mick McCarthy, it can. You very well could win the Premier League like this, because as it stands right now, we're 4 wins from 4, and that's all that matters. At the end of the season, if we're 9 points clear at the start of May and we've got the title wrapped up, it's not really going to matter that you had to rely on Federico Chiesa and Rio Ingamoa and a wonder free kick and a 93rd minute penalty, that gets converted in the 95th minute. Points are points at the end of the day. And it's what you get for not having heads drop. You've seen it in 4 Premier League games so far, is that all the excuses were there for us to let our heads drop. Oh, we let a 2-goal lead slip against Bournemouth. Oh, we let 10-man Newcastle back into the game. Oh, Arsenal came here to play for a draw, and a draw against Arsenal isn't all that bad. Oh, away at Turf Moor, they parked the bus. The excuses are there to let yourself not push to the very last minute to get all 3 points. And this team has shown 4 games out of 4 that we're not going to use those excuses. We're going to push to the very last whistle, and we're going to get the win.
I will say though, before we get into the bits and bobs around the game, when I say I'm quite enjoying it, you always enjoy last minute winners, but I'm enjoying it for now, right? I think if you're like, without going too much one way or too much the other way, where it's all like, we're terrible, this is all luck, without going that side of it, without going the other way, going, this is the best thing ever. I'm enjoying it for now. And I think the reason I'm enjoying it for now is because it's the 14th of September and we're 4 league games in. I think if we were doing this in another 10 games, or so, I would be kind of saying to myself, I'm not completely happy with this, and it's a bit concerning. But I think when you take stuff into context, the context being new players into the team, already players out injured and coming back in, a couple of players playing out of position, players still to come in. You kind of have to look at it as a whole and say to yourself, listen, put points on the board, because like you said, the excuses would have been easy there. For me, we're leaving it late, but when you look at the games that have been played, when you look at the games that have been played, I think we play ourselves into trouble against Bournemouth, where we turn a nothing game into a something game by overplaying and being a bit silly. Newcastle, it's one of those where we do really well. We weathered a storm away at Newcastle when it was always going to be the case because of everything that was going on at the time. And then we let ourselves down a little bit. And then Arsenal was the Arsenal game. It was one of those where it could have gone either way. Arne Slot said it himself. And today, we faced a team where, they literally sat 11 men behind the ball. They 19% possession. I think they averaged about 1 pass per minute in that game. Just over 1 pass per minute in that game. as the home team. And fair play to them. If that's their way home, I have no issues with it, because I always think when a team comes up, you're either really strong at the back or you go and score goals. And they're going for the really strong at the back option by the looks of it. Or they're trying to be, and that might be their way home. But having said that, Matt, I do look around and say to myself, right, 4 from 4. You know, I think we've only another 3 league games, and there is another international break, which for some reason is okay, fair enough to keep bringing them on, but we need to see improvement, because I think, I'm going to shout it now, I think Everton have started the season quite well and seem to be getting stronger and seem to be in a bit of a stride. For as good or bad as that stride is, you know, the sort of way. But there has to be concerns there from, you know. There has to be some little concern, because there is concerns for me on certain things, but I'm allowing them to go for now, because I think, yeah, we can improve, and yeah, players will get better, and we're just picking up points. And if we're picking up points and we're annoying people, you know, it's double points, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Jelly Strubant's there. It's like the exact thought I was having. The initial complaint was, oh, look at how poor our defense is. Now we got 2 clean sheets on the trot, and now you're going, geez, we're kind of struggling to score goals. Like, boy, it sure would be nice if you could bring in one of the best number 9s in the entire world in to help that attack. And that's what's going to happen. I think Slot said in his post-match that he's looking to probably use Isak for 10 or 15 minutes midweek against Atletico Madrid, possibly with an eye of him getting maybe half an hour or a half against Everton at the weekend, and then he's going to be at match fitness and ready to roll. It should be worrisome for the other teams in the league, the fact that, yeah, we're eking results out, but we seem to be ironing things out at the back. I mean, Virgil van Dijk he looks as good as he's ever looked. Like, Virgil's just incredible these last few games. Ibu Konate seems to have settled down a little bit, and the fullbacks are going to grow into this team a little bit more. When we made the changes today and we brought Bradley and Andy Robertson on to the pitch, it made all the difference. You know, Robertson gave us the calmness and solidity that Kirkes just doesn't quite have yet. He's a little bit manic. You know, Szoboszlai, as Kev was very quick to point out in our post-match show, is not a fullback. You have a fullback. Play your fullbacks at fullback. And when Connor Bradley came onto the pitch, I thought he looked excellent, and he just made us that much more dangerous. So we're shoring things up at the back, and then we're going to add Alexander Isak into our attack. And I think it's going to solve a lot of these problems, because the guy's just going to score goals.
He is that's what he's brought in for. He is coming in to score goals, and he's another option there. And you know, I think he brings something different to Ekitike, who was kind of, for me today, was, you know, he was kind of crowded out of the game. I think a lot of people were crowded out of the game, and I think he just brings something different. He's a killer. He's an absolute killer. Isak is. Any sniff and you're in serious trouble. But the big thing for me, like, were you surprised you didn't see him there today?
No. I think it was a little early. Again, having missed the entirety of preseason, like, I think it would have been different if the transfer had played out like a lot of transfers have. Like, if it had been the same sort of situation as Luis Diaz, sort of, where he was in all the training sessions, went on the preseason tour with us, and then got the move, I think you would expect him to come in right away and hit the ground running. But the fact that he was off on his own, doing individual training, having to come in after they turned the lights off at Newcastle's training ground, it's going to take a little bit longer to get there. And there was a quote that Ashley had thrown up in our post-match show where he said, like, you know, we didn't just sign him for the next 2 weeks, we signed him for the next 6 years. And I think, yeah, we're all very excited to get him on the pitch and see what he looks like in a red shirt or these gorgeous green tops. But a little bit of patience. Let's not worry about it. We don't need to rush him back. We know he has a tendency to get the odd injury here and there. So let's just err on the side of caution.
Yeah, and I think I'm with you. I wasn't surprised at all. When I heard Slot talking about, you know, he's no different to anybody else. He'll have to come in. He's missed pre-season. He's missed team sessions. And even if he had a pre-season, I think Slot made a big deal of the team sessions. You know, not just the fitness or match fitness, is more how the team plays, where you're meant to be, what you have to do, what your responsibilities are, wherever it might be, on and off the ball. And he's like, look, like the quote said, he's not here for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. He's here for many, many years. So I wasn't surprised at all, and I wasn't surprised really with the starting lineup at all. I thought, yeah, that would just be the lineup. It's absolutely flying or fine. I thought maybe with Bradley getting, I think he plays 290s for Northern Ireland in the international break. I thought maybe you might see him come back in. He might do something with Szoboszlai, but he leaves Szoboszlai where he is, and Szoboszlai, I thought Szoboszlai was great to be fun. To be fair, a right back, and if he goes into midfield, he's fine. I had no issues there whatsoever. Look, I expected a bit more of Burnley. I'm not going to lie. Watching the game, I thought they have to break out at some stage and do something here now. But they didn't want to. They just... And the reason I thought that, Matt, was because if they have a goal and they manage to get a goal, great. You know, Liverpool have to score two, you know, to beat us. And the way it usually is when you play teams like this is they look to have some sort of attacking threat because, you know, if they concede a goal to us, nothing really changes for them. Stay in the game till the last 10 and you might have to throw something at it. And I was expecting a bit more of Burnley, but it didn't come. You know, I don't think they have a shot in the second half.
No.
They have one early,
I don't think they had a touch in our box in the second half.
No, I don't think they did either.
Terrible.
You know, and you know, Virgil gives one away, gives a pass away early in the game, and they have a shot. Yeah, I think it might have been Jaden Anthony has a shot, and it's like, okay, and then they've one or two others, and you're like, right, maybe that's their way home. You know, look for mistakes and see where they can go from there. But then it just dwindled into no, you know, and maybe in their own mind they thought, oh, listen, we step forward a tiny bit there, and they look threatening. Jesus, terrified of us. But Liverpool are going to have to learn to deal with this, Matt. You know, I don't think everyone's going to come out and play like that, particularly at home against us. They might do at Anfield, but we're going to have to learn to deal with this. And like I said earlier, I'm okay with it for now, but this team and this makeup of players need to not let it get to 94 minutes. They probably need to come out with a quicker tempo. They probably need to come out with a bit more intent from the very off and say, listen, we're smashing your game plan. We're in the first 15 here, and then we let you deal with it. Because the more we have games like this and the more we let it go longer, we won't dig ourselves out of a hole. Like what you've seen today, was it a mixture of, like, obviously them 11 behind the ball, but against that, us still trying to get used to what players are doing, where they're going. And I don't know if the international break makes a difference. I don't really think it does. But it was a bit of both for you. I'm trying to see if there's any worries from you. Is there any bits where you don't think, no, this will be absolutely fine in a couple of weeks? Because we have to get used to it. We have to get used to what we've seen today.
No, we got the result. So yes, I was happy. Just before my wife left the house, it was like the 88th minute. And she's like, have a good show. And I was like, it won't be a fucking good show. And then 5 minutes later, it was like, penalty. Yeah, it's going to be a great show. So it's funny how quick things can change. But I noticed that the pattern of the game was set after about 4 minutes. They had all 10 of their players behind the ball. We had everybody within about 35 yards of their goal, bar Allison. And that was the way the game was going to be set up. They had a couple of times where we had a few misplaced passes or they forced something resembling a turnover. And at one point they had a break. It was, I can't even remember. I wrote it down because I do take my notes. Some guy tried to run against Virgil. Oh, yeah, Foster got the ball in the 30th minute. And he ran against Virgil. And it was like me trying to beat Virgil one-on-one. Like, it wasn't even close. And I think they realized quite early that they're not going to score. Like, they're just not going to score. And I wish we would have noticed that. And I really thought after we came out in the second half, I thought that Arne Slot was going to take the handbrake off a little bit and let us play a little bit more akin to the way that we were playing at 2-0 against Bournemouth. If you remember after that game, you're like, why are we playing so risky when we've got a lead? We should have been playing like that and trying, cute little balls to try to make that incisive pass and break their lines open a little bit against this Burnley team. But because they offered just absolutely nothing. Like, that game was finishing 0-0 or a Liverpool score to 0. They were not going to score in that game. So, yeah, I would have liked to have seen us taking the shackles off a little bit. But at the end, I think we did end up seeing that with the changes that were made, with taking Konate off for Frimpong and letting him push forward on that right-hand side, bringing Rio in, leaving Gakpo on the pitch, but putting him into the middle, having Chiesa on the pitch. Like, we end up having 4, 5, 6 attacking players on that pitch at the end of the game, and it pays off. So it's early days. I really think the team is, and this is something you pointed out, the game that you went to and saw in person, that the team is struggling to click with how Florian Wirtz is playing in this team. And you saw it a lot in this game where he was drifting forward with Ekitike, and they're up against that low block. So it's, 5 at the back and then 4, and then Foster trying to lead the line as well as he could. And Ekitike and Wirtz are drifting in and out of space and trying to open up those angles, and it just wasn't quite there. But we kept the ball well. We recycled the ball well. We didn't give them a sniff whatsoever. And if you just keep pushing, like eventually, I think it's another one of Slot's quotes from after the game, or maybe it was Virgil, like, if you have the ball in their box for 95 minutes, eventually something's going to fall your way.
Yeah, I've seen, sorry, just to know, I've seen 1 or 2 people mentioning in the chat about some sort of ads in the YouTube chat, right? And I can promise you it's not us putting ads in the YouTube chat, because we don't change a setting at all for any of our shows. We literally put the shows in, we have our settings. Last week it happened to us where we went in and someone reported to us afterwards where there was an ad every minute, and we had to pull a load of them out manually. So it's not us doing it, I promise you. Literally last week I had to pull like an hour long show, and there was like 50 ads on it. So we pulled about 30 of them off, and or 40 of them off. We usually try average an ad every 4 or 5 minutes on our show, but now they're saying that it's showing up in the chat, which is bananas. But I promise you it's not us doing it. We've looked through all our settings, nothing has changed, unless YouTube have dropped something in there that we have to click to stop that happening, but we can't find it. I'm just letting you know that. And trust me, we don't benefit from it. Trust me, you know my feeling. You know my feeling on YouTube and ads and all that sort of stuff. But I just thought I'd let you know. It's Veranda Cheese said it's happening to him for weeks. So am I saying? Are we right in saying that there's a chat box, and within the chat box there's ads now?
Apparently.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna have to go and have another look again. So there you go. Moving on. Let's talk a couple of players. I think it's. Let's start with Kerkis. Because I thought he had a really good game last week. A couple of weeks ago against Arsenal, his last league game against Arsenal. I thought, right, he looks settled, and that'll be really good for him. He looked composed. Madueke had a really good game, and Madueke had a really good game again for Arsenal yesterday. And I thought, you know what, that'll be doing really good. He made all the right decisions. When to tackle, when to drop, everything else. And today he comes out, and again, it's like he's trying too hard. It's like he needs to take it on himself to go, I'll drive this team forward and I'll be it. And I'll show the intensity. Where if he just does his job to a level, he'd be absolutely fine. He gets in the box and he goes down and dives. It was a really weird one from Kerkis today. And I don't know whether he's trying too hard. I think he is. I think he's trying too hard to do too many things and try to make everything look like it's a real show he's trying to put on. Just do your job up and down. You have the pace, you have the strength, you're a decent footballer, you're good at getting forward, you can pass the ball, you can move, you can do all the stuff you wanted to do. That's why Liverpool have signed you. Why are you going out of your way to do all this stuff? And I think he was rightly taken off.
Oh, yeah. That substitute was extremely smart, because I think he would have been like 50-50 whether he made halftime. Like, I think he was lucky with that ball that went over the top. Now, I don't think it should have been a free kick to Burnley in the first place. There was 2 of their players against Mo Salah, and somehow Mo commits the foul. And then they take a quick free kick, they lump it over the top, and Kirkes fouls their guy, and it's like, oh, fuck, no. Oh, God. I thought he was gone. So he didn't get the second yellow for that, and immediately Arne Slot had Andy Robertson up and stripping off, and it was the next break and play that he was hooked off, and I think that was 100% the right idea. I think it was Madge there saying he's playing like somebody with something to prove, and I think that's what it is. It feels like he got given the nod at the start of the season, and he's approached it with the attitude of, I need to show the coaches that I deserve to keep this starting spot, and instead of just keeping it ticking over and putting in 7 out of 10s, he's trying to put in 9 and 10 out of 10s. and instead putting in 4 out of 10s. And he's going to lose the starting role. Like, I think Andy Robertson is going to come back in for the next couple of games while Kirk has just he's got time on his hands. Like, we don't need to. It's the same with Isak of why isn't he getting into the squad or into the starting lineup. These guys have time on their hands. We just wait. But yeah, I don't want to paint him with that Albie Moreno brush because that is a terrifying color. Like, no, we do not want that whatsoever. But yeah, it feels like somebody needs to take him aside and just tell him, just calm down, especially when Szoboszlai is there playing as well too. Like, if you're playing and your other fullback is a converted winger stroke midfielder playing at fullback, he's presumably going to be doing a little bit more of the getting forward part. You're going to be staying back a little bit more. The dive, though, I just don't get it. Like, he had the opportunity to keep going, get the ball, and put a dangerous cross into the box, and instead he took one of the worst dives you're ever going to see. So, yeah, he's got to take his lumps. And, I mean, that's part and parcel of being a professional footballer. And, he's going to know more than anybody that he was hooked off after 36 minutes. It's never a good look for anybody.
No, and I think Slot probably thought to himself, I'm not going to let this drag on. Not even until halftime. I'm not going to let this drag on for a couple of weeks where you try to get him out of this, steadily get him out of this stuff. I'm just going to take him off now, and we're going to put this to bed really, really quickly. And I think that's absolutely fine. Sorry, Tarek come back just regards to YouTube. He said, it's YouTube, Gav. Ads have increased in duration. I've noticed that myself. I am on different channels. And amount even during live streaming events increased even in the recommended section. I can tell you, there's an option on YouTube where you can turn on ads during live events. We have that turned off. There is an option for us to do this show, and while you're watching, you get a big ad playing in front of you for 30 seconds and then comes back to the show. We have turned that off, I promise you. So I will go back and look at it. I will try find if there's any other options, but as it is, we haven't done anything different. It could be YouTube just overriding everything and making sure this goes in. Some people are saying they can see it in their chat. Some people are saying they can't. Maybe it's the browser you're on. It could be something like that. I'm not 100% on it, but I will go back after the show and have a good look. Ryan Gravenberch, I thought he was excellent.
Oh, he's like mashed potatoes passed through one of those sieves. He is so silky, Gav. He's just, some of the touches the man puts on the football is just that Thiago drop of the shoulder to swivel away from opponents. He's excellent. He's just excellent.
Is he benefiting more from having someone just sitting beside him a little bit? Whereas, like, all the the focus isn't on him as the man to take the ball out from the defenders and stuff like that. Is he benefiting from teams going, oh, it might be Gravenberch, oh, it mightn't be Gravenberch who's going to get it? Because he seems to have a little bit even more room. I thought when he was deepest of a tree, he'd loads of room because he like you said, he can drop the shoulder. He just 2 strides and he's away from you, and then he just moves into midfield. But I just thought the way he patrolled the game today was really good. And his touch was assured. When he wanted to move, he did. When he needed to make the pass, he did. He's just improving all the time, and we missed him in the first game of the season. And I don't think it showed. It showed a bit in the first game of the season, but he comes back and he scores against Newcastle. I thought he was good against Arsenal, but today I thought, in a midfield where McAllister for me is still finding his full fitness and his full rhythm. I just thought he was. He just seemed, not that he was everywhere, but he was just really assured in what he was doing. He didn't allow that midfield to become a bit of a mayhem that maybe Burnley wanted. A bit of mayhem in midfield and we might get something off it. He was just assured in everything he'd done. I just thought he was excellent. He keeps getting better and better for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I noticed that, especially today, he wasn't doing that role where he drops between the center halves when the center halves go wide and split, and he drops in between. There was a lot of times today where McAllister in the first half was actually the deepest out of the 2 midfielders. Like, the play that leads up to Kirkes taking his awful swan dive is made by Gravenberch in the box. He plays that little around the corner pass to open it up for Kirkes to go onto and then take a big splash. So, yeah, He had a shot from the edge of the box as well too. I mean, he's really coming into his own. But I think any midfielder is going to look better having Alexis McAllister beside them. Even though it wasn't McAllister's best game by any stretch of the imagination, and he had to go off at halftime with hopefully not an ankle injury. But it's the two of them are dovetailing together very, very well. And that's a carryover from last season where they both should have been in pretty much everybody's team of the season.
Yeah, I just think his value to the team, I think, is growing all the time. And when you're not playing so well, I don't think anyone's looking for Gravenberch to take that midfield and burst through midfield and score a load of goals. I don't think that's what he's there for in this Liverpool team. But he, to me, his value is becoming higher and higher because of the way he is just being really, really assured of what he's doing. And so many players, whether that's a centre-back behind them, full-back either side of him, Verts in front of him, or McAllister, whoever, can depend on him to A, hold on to the ball, and B, get it to you. And I just think it's priceless, especially in this system where we are, instead of, whipping balls out wide, and a lot of people have spoken about Salah being isolated. I agree. But because I think we're trying to play something slightly different, where we're trying to play a little bit more through the middle of the park. And I just think him being there and doing what he's doing, I think he's been absolutely excellent. We've spoken a little bit about Ekitike, probably his poorest game for Liverpool since he signed. But having said that, when you're literally standing, and if you're standing on the edge of the box and there's, if you draw a box 30 by 30 around you, every Burnley player is in it. It can be difficult. But I still think he showed today. He does 72 minutes today, and I think Slot is still trying to walk him into this team where you can get 90 of him. And he's still young, and he's still learning at Liverpool. But I think he showed today that the signing of Isak, not just because it's Isak, the signing of a striker was big for Liverpool at the end of that window, because you do need two that are focal points, and I've said it since the start. So I'm going to let Ekitike off because I don't think we should be coming in going, well, he didn't score, he was brutal. I think he tried his best. Someone said earlier though, and it was interesting, he vacated the centre a lot and was drifting when Liverpool probably needed him to be in the centre and occupying people. That's probably the only one mark I give against him, because when I read it I did think, yeah, that's probably spot on. Talk to me about Gakpo, because I've seen an awful lot of negativity around Gakpo after this game.
I don't know why. I mean, any of the front four players in that game, if you include Verts in it, I think the best one out of that group would have to be Gakpo. I mean, he was at least trying to do something. He wasn't completely one note. He wasn't always cutting inside and trying that curling shot with his right foot. His passing was about as shit as everyone else's, which was quite shit for the most part. But he tried that little dink ball, cross to the back post. He tried that a couple of times. He had the odd couple of times where he laid it off to the overlapping fullback. I think he's okay. I mean, I think Gakpo is going to come good. On the Ekitike thing, though, I looked at that differently. To me, that was him trying to find space for himself to get on the ball, because they've got three center halves and then three midfielders right in front of him. He's completely surrounded by Burnley shirts. He wants to get on the ball and try to do something with it. You saw at the end of the first half, he had a chance to get his head up and run at their defense. He beats a man with a quick dribble and some pace, and then he toe pokes that ball, and it's just curling. It doesn't quite curl enough to get in at the back post, and nobody's taking the risk to dive in at the back post and tuck that ball home. It felt to me that he's desperate to try to affect the game, because it's obviously stuttering and stale and everything like that. But the fact that he likes to pull out onto that left tells me that there is a role for him to swap with Gakpo and not need us to think of Rio and Gamoa as Gakpo's backup, so that if and when Gakpo does need to be rested or he picks up a slight knock or something like that, that we don't have to play Rio and Gamoa there, and that it's not just going to be Ekitike starts at the 9 or Isak starts in the 9. And if one of them doesn't, the other one's on the bench. I think Hugo Ekitike is showing that he could play off that left if we need him to. And I'm okay with that, because it just gives another wrinkle into the way that we're setting up our attack. But I don't get people that don't like Cody Gakpo. I just don't. You look at the numbers that he puts up, he finishes quite well for a winger. If you just look at straight out-and-out wingers, which he definitely is, he scores more goals than the vast majority of them in this league. And yeah, he can be a bit one note, but his one note, like, you play Freebird every concert. Well, Freebird's a pretty great fucking song. So, he's one note, but his one note is pretty good.
Yeah, I think to be fair, if we're going to put, on Ekatike, which I'm fairly so. I think the whole crowded out situation. Gakpo's as crowded out as anyone. Salah is crowd. Once you're in the final third of that pitch, you're crowded. There's just no way around it. When you're literally playing 5-5 as a system, you're going to be crowded out, and they'll drop deeper, and that five will get closer to that five, and there's just a lot of bodies in a very small space. Like, it looks huge on the telly, but when you actually stand in a stadium and watch a game, it's not that big a space, And Gakpo, they would have been quite happy for Gakpo to get the ball and literally push him out wide, because he's naturally right footed. Push him out wide and make him turn and come back to his fullback, and we'll keep letting them, we'll just keep letting them rotate and recycle this ball, and we'll just keep them in front of us. That was Burnley's thing all day. Keep them in front of us. Don't give any gaps. And Gakpo struggled. Salah is slightly different. We'll get on to him in a minute. But like Kev says there, everyone needs a fall guy. I don't doubt that. I actually don't doubt that. I think Curtis Jones has been around today. He probably would have been it. I'm sure someone else will take up that mantle in the next couple of weeks or months as well. But again, I think, well, you let this team off or this performance off because of different aspects early in the season, or everything we've mentioned. I still think we need to learn to be better at this. You know what I mean? We have to find a way of being more effective against this, because I don't think you're going to see. I think we're playing Everton next Saturday, and I think you're going to see not as much. I think Everton will definitely leave one up against the centre backs. They'll probably leave Grealish up close to them, and we'll talk about that during the week. But we're going to see an awful lot of Everton going, listen, we've four at the back, and we're going to sit two right in the middle of midfield in front of that, and the two wide fellas, we might leave one slightly up, but we're going to make sure everyone's tight and compact, and Liverpool have to find a way around that, and they're going to have to get used to it, because they're champions. They've spent a lot of money in the summer, and teams are looking, going, fuck me, if we give these a sniff, we're in serious bother here. So you're going to see that an awful lot this season. So I just think we need to learn to be a little bit better at it. The Salah stuff is interesting, because I watched quite a good video actually before we come on. It's like it's basically some guy on YouTube, which is really good. He just basically gets all the absolute horrible reactions of opposition fans doing watch-alongs to Liverpool games when they score, and seeing them all in absolute despair. And he throws a couple of Liverpool fans in there as well. But the amount of them are like, oh, Salah, he stopped padding again with the penalty. Salah's done nothing. Salah's done this. And while you laugh at it, you're kind of going, he's not as involved. Now, is this early season, we're trying something different and this will grow as it goes on? Or are we seeing another evolution of Salah where he's not the one where you give him and he runs at people. He's the one that hangs around and you get him the ball and he looks to create. Are we seeing another evolution of Salah here? Are we seeing an evolution of the team? Or are we just seeing over the first 4 games, we're not getting him into the game as much? Is it that simple? Where are you on this? Because he has looked isolated in games. Like, so isolated in the Bournemouth game, it was untrue. Like, so standing on his own for so long and no one bothering to give them the ball, it was mad.
Yeah, I think it's all the above. I mean, the one thing that we're all hoping that it's not is that he's gone over that cliff, that he's having that Henderson Fabinho drop off. And I don't think there's any evidence that points to that. It's just so much around him has changed. He's got a new number 9 through the middle. We're now playing with the number 10 that we've never really played with before in Verts, and people are really actively seeking to get him involved in the game, in that transition between the middle and the final third. And as Kev loves pointing out, he blames it all on Dominic Szoboszlai playing it right back. Like, Kev hates Dominic Szoboszlai playing it right back.
Does he really hate Dominic Szoboszlai?
I think so. I think the fact that we don't have a Greek in the team now, he's just gone to the next closest country. He just moved up on the map and was like, Hungary. Yeah, he is right out. I mean, Kirkevs was right there, but he decided to go for Szoboszlai instead. But I think there's a large kernel of truth to that. Is that for the last 8 years, Mo Salah has played with Trent Alexander-Arnold, and whatever you want to say about Trent and how he left this club, he had a hell of a working relationship with Mohamed Salah, like an incredible working relationship with Mo Salah. So it is going to take some time for that relationship to build up. We haven't been helped by the fact that Frimpong was in and then out, Bradley was in and then out, Szoboszlai, Kev hates, in and then out at right back. So once we get some consistency there and you can start building up those patterns of play, I think that's going to help Mo Salah. But I think the biggest thing that's going to help us this season in terms of getting that impact from Mo Salah in terms of goals and assists in the final third is going to be when Alexander Isak starts playing. Because teams are not going to be able, like you saw, he was isolated, and every time that ball went to Salah, he was immediately dealing with two players. Well, we're going to have too many weapons for you to double team everybody. Like at a certain point, somebody's going to be left free or somebody's going to be left mano a mano, and they're just going to win their individual battle with a higher level of skill. And so I think all of these things are going to work as we get better and as we gel more and we click more. That's going to come into, and then if teams want to start to sleep on Mo Salah, I'm willing to trust Mo Salah to do the business at the business end of the pitch. Like he will get the goals and assists. And I mean, he's got 2 goals and an assist in 4 games. So he's been, and I mean, he was shit today. He was terrible. And he gets the winning goal. Yeah, I know it's a penalty, but he still gets the winning goal. He's still there when we need him to be there. And so I just wait.
Yeah. Ashley says Szoboszlai in midfield does a lot of Salah's donkey work. If you take him out from midfield, it's a double whammy on Mo's impact. And Davey T says Kev was a judge on the Eurovision and he gave Hungary 0 points every year. Now, Kev has put in the chat, don't use to fucking start, which is a trigger for us to start. Let's be fair. So we'll see how that goes.
We'll just mute Kev in the chat and we could just go in 2-footed on it.
Yeah. Look, I think it's a valid point when you say, look, you know, people are mentioning when Trent went down injured last season, Salah became isolated. Salah needs movement around him. And I think, you know, as much as Szoboszlai has been excellent at right back, but Szoboszlai is a footballer that likes to see the game in front of him. You know, he likes to be that player that has it in front of him, looks for his options, and can play any pass you want, really. He's a really, really good footballer. But I think Salah will benefit from Frimpong and Bradley, because Frimpong and Bradley are naturally right-sided players. Frimpong, you can argue, is a wing-back, but he's playing full-back. He can do that job there. He knows what relationship to have with his right-sided midfielder or right-sided attacker. And Bradley the same. And the running power to go beyond them, go inside them, offer angles, make up space and stuff like that, I think it'd be huge for him. Just on those two, because they both come back from injury today. They both come off the bench. How did you find when they come on? I thought they brought a really good energy. I thought Burnley was really scared of Frimpong.
Connor Bradley, I thought, was excellent when he came on. Like, he just looked to be getting into the box immediately. I mean, fucking Andy Robertson had his impact when he came on, like, instantaneously, where he had a shot on goal. And it was like, it's that old thing of like, oh, if anybody to have the chance to shoot, of course it's Andy Robertson gets the ball there and hits it right at the goalie. But Bradley, I thought, was excellent. And it's so good to see him back. Like, the international break was probably really, really good for him. In terms of everybody else, it, you know, meh. Who cares? It's an international break. But for him to be able to get those minutes, Northern Ireland, I think they played Germany at one point too, because I saw him blast into the side of Florian Wirtz, you know, and made a nice tackle on Wirtz there.
Yeah, he did.
I think that's great for him to get back up and running, because we're getting into that thick and fast, I believe, is the nomenclature you're supposed to use now, 3 games a week, even though that's not technically even possible, I don't think. We need him to come back in and help out with that. And then to bring Frimpong in at the end, hit the ball first time. I mean, come on, Jeremy Frimpong. You know where the goal is. Like, what did he get? 10, 15 goals last year or something like that for Leverkusen? Like, a great return from a right wing back. And Ingamoa plays that ball across to him just seconds before we get the handball. And he takes a touch, and he should probably just put his foot through the back of it. And he stands to be the big winner in terms of the Liverpool heroics contest this week, because we've had different people to come up big for us when we've needed it. And I thought that was going to be it, because like Ingamoa just causing terror in their back line, and then puts a beautiful ball and that goes across the box. And it's like, just hit the thing. And no, he takes a touch. And I thought that was our moment gone. That was about when my head dropped. It was the 92nd minute when Frimpong didn't shoot that, but it shows he knows, like, he gets into those good attacking areas, and that's what we need. So it's going to be better going forward to have him there than to not have him. And then we don't have to play Szoboszlai at right back.
Then we have more options going into midfield. And we still have Szoboszlai as an option at right back if you want to do it in certain games. We've seen it now over a couple of games, and in fairness to him, he's been excellent in those 3 games. I think he plays at right back. Little mention for Ngamo, because in fairness to him, when Liverpool have needed something, they've brought him on. They've brought him on at Newcastle, and they've brought him on here. And I have to be honest with you, I don't think Burnley looked too impressed with him coming on. They were like, fuck, this fella's really fast, and he's really tricky, and he can go either way, and really bright when he come on. And you know, people are, and I'm in this boat, I'm not going to lie, people are saying, you know, you manage him, you bring him in, you don't put too much pressure on him. But I'd like to think on the sideline, Klopp or Slot is saying to him, go on out and just do your thing. Don't worry about it, go out and do your thing. But his thing actually looks more like a Liverpool way of doing things than, you know, this flamboyant 17-year-old, I think he is now, flamboyant 17-year-old that wants to beat everyone. He actually looks like really well drilled on what he's meant to do as a Liverpool player. It's not like it's alien to him. It's not like he's coming on and going, this guy is completely different to everything we're doing, but he might get you something. He looks like a part of this squad, and I'm not against him coming on for 10 and 15 minutes. Not every week, fine. 10 or 15 minutes is no problem. I just want them coming on in situations where maybe when we're 2 or 3 up, it'd be nice as well. But I want them, I'd like to think we're putting them on and saying, don't take all this on your shoulders. Go out and do your thing. And I thought he was really good when he came on.
Yeah, I think the stat was he had more touches in the 3 minutes plus injury time in the attacking box than Burnley had all game. I think Burnley had 2 touches in our box, and he had 3. And that just shows you the urgency that he brought to it. But to me, the really positive thing about Rio and Ngamo is because in the summertime, when it was clear, like during preseason, that he was going to be in and around the first team, you start going back, and I watched like a big, long, like 20-minute highlight compilation of him playing for the unders last season. And there was an awful lot of that. I'm really tricky with my feet, and I'm really fast, but he gets his head down, and he gets lost into his own world. And you're not seeing that. Yeah. You're not seeing like that one-trick pony aspect. And that's why that pass across the box to Frimpong I thought was so excellent, was because that's not a pass that a player that's just so focused on their fast feet and step overs and doing this and doing that, they're not picking their head up and seeing that pass and making that pass. And he's doing that. So it bodes well, and especially to the fact that we aren't desperate. We don't need him. We don't need him. You know, he doesn't need to come in and be our Ahmed Diallo or Adnan Januzaj, you know, savior for this team. We're good. We can, you know, drip him in. And yeah, it would be much better if we could get a nice 3-goal lead. Like, that would be delightful. Fantastic. After these first 4 games. Yeah. But
it'd be like Rio and Ngamo going, listen, I have a pain in your bollocks coming on here now when we're bleeding goals. Is there any chance I can just go on and let's just play 15 minutes of normal football? Kev says there, having a wing option who brings defenders back into their own box with his runs is perfect for games like today. Excellent decision making. Yeah, I agree with that. Let me see. Ngamo is a great prospect, says Next Level. He's playing with great players, and when it happens, you work less and the game is easy. Like when Phil Foden started out for City in the early days. This, you see, my thing is, like, Phil Foden scores in the Manchester Derby today, but Phil Foden has lost his way because I think too much pressure ended up on Phil Foden, both at club and international level. And it was like, oh, Phil Foden will do it all for you. Phil Foden shouldn't be doing it all for Man City. I don't care how good he is or what, and I think he's a brilliant footballer, by the way. But he shouldn't be doing it all for them. And the fact that City have brought in some, you know, attackers in the likes of Marmouche, etc., and still have some real quality. Docky was excellent today, by the way. And I think Phil Foden will find the benefit of that, where it's not all on give it to Phil Foden, he has to do something if Haaland isn't there. Make Phil Foden's the only one that can get it to Haaland. He had a really good game today. But Ngamo, they'll know what to do with him. I hope when they're bringing him on there, just go and do your thing. And honestly, he looked like a Liverpool player today. He didn't look like a 17-year-old that's just come out of the academy that doesn't play much football and he's a bit of a wild card. He looked like a Liverpool player when he came on. Genuinely, in every way that he fit in. Somebody in the chat says, I read, and I better read it out because I should credit them with them. Oh, Jesus. Tiernan says, Gav, I hope you're going to touch on how shocking Carragher was on the commentary today. Shouldn't be allowed to comment on Liverpool games. Did you watch with Jamie Carragher on?
Nope, I had the slightly less awful Jim Beglin.
Okay.
He's never much better, but I don't have to suffer the Sky Sports trauma that you guys do.
Well, you see, we don't have to. We could use NordVPN and get ourselves into the US of A, get a bit of TSN going, and we can watch all our favourite sports there, which is
45 minutes down, 45 minutes to go.
the greatest sports channel on the planet, TSN. From Canada, aren't they? It's Canadian.
Yes, they are.
It's fantastic. But with NordVPN, you just get yourself into Canada and lash on all your favourite sports, and you don't have to listen to Jamie Carragher. But no, seriously, NordVPN, they sponsor this show. So check out the link in the description if you want a VPN to watch all your favourite sports, all your streaming services, all of that sort of stuff, from anywhere else in the world. All the security you need. You won't get all them ads that's happening at the minute, which is madness. And across 10 devices, all the family can have all the coverage that they want and stuff like that. If you want a VPN, click the link in the description because it helps us as well. I'm not going to lie. But the Carragher thing, I did happen to watch it with Carragher on there today. And it's the same old, same old. You know, like you watch Carragher today and then you watch Neville. And Neville is like literally puking in his own mouth, having to watch Man City beat United. There's no emotion to him. Like, they're scoring goals. Like Phil Foden scores, he goes, oh. And he just beats him there. And it's great what he does there. And like, he tries to get excited over the Doku bit of skill. And he's like, and then comes back in and he just guides that header in. And he's a bit to do there. And you're like, and then you can just hear the life absolutely oozing out of him, you know, as the game goes on. And that's because he's a Manchester United fan. Carragher, for me, I think he tries to go the other way too much. You know, would he be? He'd be more unbearable to others, I suppose. He was just cheering on Liverpool, but he tries to go the other way. Like, he was making out that Burnley were fantastic today, and Burnley weren't fantastic today. Burnley sat in and went, "Listen, we're going to do everything we can not to just not score a goal and not concede a goal. We're going to have no goals in this game." And he goes the other way. He just, like, instead of just saying Liverpool have been okay, Burnley have been quite good at what they're trying to do. Overall, very kind of patchy game. Could have went either, not could have went either way. Liverpool probably, they kept going, credit to them. But you can see, you can actually hear him dragging himself back, because when the goal goes in, he's like, Liverpool won't, this happened again, and they can't keep doing this. And then 30 seconds later, they're like, that's in the fabric of this football club. And you're like, make your mind up. Which one are you doing? So it was a bit.
Well, it's strange to hear that he's so, because I hear this all the time, because I don't get really any, because even the Sky Sports YouTube stuff is all geolock and I don't watch it. So I should really get on that VPN thing, actually.
Really should.
Shit. Yeah. But I saw the clip of him, which game was it? Was it the Szoboszlai goal? It was one of the other games that we won late on, where he's like running around the studio and like screaming and fist pumping and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, it's like, okay, you've got that on one hand, and then when you're doing the commentary, you go the exact opposite way. And it feels that's kind of the way it is with a lot of these ex-Liverpool pundits. Whereas, and I wanted to ask you your thoughts on the tackle on McAllister, because when I watched it live and saw the replays immediately after the incident, it was like, okay, yeah, it's a yellow card for sure. Maybe it's a red, but I don't think it's egregious. And then at halftime, I had Peter Schmeichel, Michael Owen, Julian Lescott on, and they were unanimous that was a red card and an absolute howler by the referees that it wasn't given. So it was like, holy shit, I got all these Manchester guys here, and they're saying that should have been a straight red card.
I think it's a tough one. I think when you freeze frame it, where he catches him, you can kind of go, that's bad. But I think in real time, how far off the ball is he? I don't think he's over the ball. I think he's come in from I think he's come in, like, as you would say, from the side, and he's gone for it. It could have went either way, and I can see arguments for both. That's being honest with you. It's one of those where if a Liverpool player throws a tackle in like that, you probably think he's getting a yellow. Fucking hell, there's no need to be doing that. You know, the sort of way. And when it comes the other way from you, you're like, it's a fucking 100% a red. Whereas I could sit here and I could see arguments for both. I'm not going to lie. As a Liverpool fan, I was like, get him off the fucking pitch. It's a red card. I want him, a year in prison,
Yeah.
But at the same time, when it settles down, you're going to go,
McAllister.
yeah, but you see, you're adding in the extra layer now of VAR and it's checked within 4 seconds, and you're like, yeah, well, that's going to infuriate people a bit more. It's a poor tackle. And he ends up going off the fella, doesn't he? He gets booked for taking down Verts as well. But I can see the argument for both because I think I think we're in danger of taking all contact out of the game. I genuinely do. And I'm not saying that contacts like that should be allowed or shouldn't be punished. But I think we are getting to the stage where if a guy is a millisecond late and happens to catch a guy above the laces, it's like, oh, he's high and he's this and he's that and he's off the ground, he's out of control. Sometimes they're not. A bit like Souček yesterday. Souček knows it's a red card and he's not being malicious. He's not being malicious. He's just mistimed it. He's genuinely mistimed it. And when he does it, you can see him going, fuck. You know what I mean? And it wasn't kind of fuck. I'm at the,
I don't know
getting
who's
a red
more
card.
guilty, Souček or Hannibal. Like, those are the two guiltiest.
Oh, Hannibal is the most. He's the most guilty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Hannibal does it. Hannibal does it, and he must stand there. But like, I'd say the VAR check is done and all, and he's still standing there with his head in his hands. And you're like, mate, take your hands down. You're doing your case no good whatsoever.
Scored the penalty. He's wheeling away in celebration.
Yeah, it's look, it's one of those where it's. Centurion said it's a poor tackle, should have been a red and prison time for attempted murder in the 4th degree. You see, that's the other level you can go to. But it was he's so guilty of what he does, and when you turn your back and you lift your arm, forget it. It's a penalty. You know what I mean? It's just a penalty because all they're thinking is silhouettes and stuff like that, and it's not too close to him. There's a bit of a distance there, so it's not like it was lashed straight at him, ref. And he knows, like I'd say he's terrible at poker, I'd say he's terrible at poker, like, I'd say he gets two kings.
And just goes,
I'd say he gets 2 kings and he's just fucking, letting off party poppers and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's look, we're fortunate in that, because it felt like the game was just gonna not peter out, but where's this chance going to come from? And in the end, we get it, and Salah scores, and it was great. And you can't really beat endings like that, to be honest with you. But I understand where people are coming from when they go, lads, we can't be doing this every week because it's not going to work every week. I get that, but I think you kind of have to take that as what it is at the moment. And in we could be sitting here in 10 weeks' time, going, oh, that was a handy 3-0. Jeez, I wouldn't mind an L. Newcastle away kind of ending just to perk us up a bit here,
Well, the question I think is what goes up on the wall at the AXA? Is it just Hannibal sticking his elbow out like that, or is it Mo actually taking the penalty? I mean, if you're going to continue to add on to that amazing series of photos they have at the training ground there,
I suppose it probably depends on how much space they have left on their memory card. Because if there's only a limited amount of space left and they've recorded here, they could have started recording, they could have had a gig of memory left, right? And they start recording when what's his fucking name? The fella that crossed it. What's his name? The lad that crossed it, the air player. His name's gone completely out of my head.
That they had a cross?
No, air player crossed the ball and it hit him, didn't it? Frimpong, name completely went down my head, right? It's late. I'd say if they start recording when Frimpong kicked the ball and left it running, I'd say they didn't get Salah's penalty on video. I'd say there's that much of him standing with his hands in his head. It's just completely taken the whole gig up. The whole gigabyte is gone. So when they go back to the action, go, right, come on, we get Salah. Who had the camera? Mick. Right, Mick had the camera. Mick, get the camera out there and we get the pen. And he went, no, all I have is Hannibal with his head in his hands. How does that work? Well, look, if that's all we have, right, come on, print it out.
Put it out.
Print it out and laminate it and throw it up on the wall there. People are shouting Frimpong at me. Genuinely, my whole brain stopped there.
There's Slide, there's Hannibal.
But, no, look, it is what it is. It's another win. And there's another big week coming for us. Atletico Madrid. in the Champions League on Wednesday. Then we've Everton on Saturday early. So another busy week for us, for Liverpool as a football team. They're the most important. Are you looking forward to this now? Champions League is back.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find a way to watch this out in the tractor here because presumably it's going to stop raining for us at some point. I got to get back to work. But yeah, there's something different about the Champions League. And especially, I don't know, it feels like this squad and Arne Slot are going to feel like they've got some kind of unfinished business from last season because you got to know the way that we ended that Champions League campaign left a sour taste in some of their mouths. You know, we were a penalty shootout away from going through against the eventual champions, and you get through that tie against PSG, and there's nothing to be afraid of in front of you there in that Champions League. So this is it. Like, I think we'd all like number 21, but there's just something about European football and Liverpool Football Club that, I don't know, it very, very much hits differently. So, yeah, I'm going to have to find some sort of way of weaseling out of work for a couple of hours on Wednesday to watch it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm two great games now this week back at Anfield. The Atletico Madrid one's going to be really interesting. I don't think they've started. I didn't look up the result this weekend, but they hadn't started the season.
They got their first win of the season this weekend.
Okay, cool. And you know what? I've watched a little bit of Everton, and the difference Jack Grealish makes to that team is off the charts. He just there's a spark about him. There's a creativity about him. He looks like the Jack Grealish I remember from 5 years ago, or whatever amount of years ago it was when he's at probably 5 at this stage, at Aston Villa, where there's a freedom to him and he's allowed to express himself and he's working hard and he's looked really good for Everton. And I don't mind. I always like when Everton come to Anfield with a bit of confidence about them. There's nothing better, genuinely. But it's going to be two really good games at Anfield. One on Wednesday night, one on Saturday. We'll be covering them all. We've a packed week coming up now because these midweek games we're trying to do a reaction extra tomorrow night. Looking at this game from Burnley with some of our highlights over on our Patreon. We will look to preview Atletico Madrid. We'll have a post-match reaction to Atletico Madrid. We will also have a reaction extra on our Patreon for Atletico Madrid, plus our ref watch from the weekend. We'll try to squeeze in somewhere else. So you could be getting two shows tomorrow night. I'm not going to lie. You could be getting a YouTube show and you could be getting a Patreon show back to back. So watch out for them. If you're not on our Patreon, the link is in the description for that as well. There's loads of people signing up. They're really enjoying it at the minute. Try it for a month. You can pay for a month. If you like it, great. If you don't, get rid of it and don't worry about it. We're not going to fall out over it. We did give 4 or 5 people last week a month's free on it. So I hope they're enjoying that as well. And it's going to be a week of loads and loads and loads of stuff, both on YouTube and on our Patreon. As this week and loads of weeks go on now, because like Matt said there earlier, Liverpool are playing 3 games in 5 days every week now for the next 6 months. I think that's how it works. Brian says, Newcastle, Arsenal, Burnley, Atletico, Everton. What a bastard set of fixtures. Yeah, but we're doing okay. It's a bit like last season. Do you remember when we won our first 5 or 6? People went, yeah, but look at the next 12.
We did a preview show for that of like, let's look at our next 10 games, and I think we won 9 and drew 1.
Yeah, and we were like, look, and people were like, wait, and I remember the famous comment from someone going, they could be out of the title race by the end of this, and Liverpool went on a great run. So, this is what you're in it for. We might see minutes for Alexander Isak on Wednesday. I think we'll definitely see minutes for Alexander Isak next Saturday. But as I said, it's great when all these games are coming up and there's loads happening, and we'll cover as much as we possibly can, and we hope we're doing it okay and to your standards. Apart from the ads in the chat, which is really annoying me now because my mate has just sent me the picture of it and it's appalling. Like, genuinely, the chat just disappears. Yeah. Just a big ad for, buy shelving units or fucking something like that. So we will have a look into that. I don't think there's anything.
Can you imagine if the ad was a man in a white linen suit coming up behind a lady and adjusting her back? Can you imagine?
Yes. Oh, it would be the best thing ever because that actually exists. You think it doesn't? It does.
It doesn't.
It fucking does.
You've shown no proof. It's been over a month. You're going to be a senile.
Sorry, the ads were... This one ad was the digital department.ie high conversion e-commerce site. Right. Well, yeah, it's taken over the whole chat, and you have to hit the X button to get rid of it, which is just not good enough. So there you go.
I don't
Anything
know what's
else?
causing it because, like Ashley and I are both in the post match show. We're both on Mac computers. I think she's using Safari. I'm using Chrome, and neither of us are getting these ads coming up in the chat. So
Yeah,
I have
it's
no
probably a
clue.
regional thing. It probably is a regional thing.
Sucks to be you guys.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, we look
Somebody
at.
mentioned it there, Gav. Did you see how fucking terrible Man United are? That should have been another 7 or 8
Well,
nil.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm doing a Patreon show in the morning.
Oh,
On my own, with just a little recap of the weekend's football, and I did want to talk about them.
there you go.
But
Okay, well then I'll let you to it. I won't rob
no,
your
no, no.
content.
Just quickly on them. I can't see that manager lasting the next 6 games. They look like a team that are being sent out there going, no, we are fucking sick of this now. And they are a massive issue. But like I looked at Sesko today, and like he's not even going for headers. He's genuinely not even jumping for headers. And then the ball drops down, he's like, nah, no. And then he just, I'll be doing a show at 10 o'clock in the morning on Patreon, where I'm going to try doing every Monday on Patreon, on a Monday morning, where we just talk about the weekend's football and have a little chat about it. So anyone that's here that's on Patreon, keep an eye for that at 10 in the morning and give us your views on the weekend's football, everything that happens. But I watched them today, and like even half-hearted attacks, and then City just take the ball and make 3 passes, and they're in behind them, and there's no pressure on the ball, and I'm not surprised with that when you have Bruno Fernandes and Ugarte in midfield, and it just looks all over the place. And Brian says they've Chelsea at Old Trafford next week. Then us, Brighton and Spurs soon enough. Time will do its thing. Yeah, I looked up United's fixtures. I actually did. I looked them up and I went, I could honestly see them fucking picking up very, very few points out of these next 6. Let me see. Ashley says, did you hear Amarim after the match? No, I didn't hear that bit. But apparently he said, I'm not going to change. When I want to change my philosophy, I will change. If not, you have to change the man. Okay. It's a bit like...
He's begging for the axe. Like,
yeah.
he just wants that payout.
Yeah, it's City ran out easy winners to the next level. Yeah, they did. They really did. They closed it. And you know what? That City team are there together. They're 100% there together. When I look at them and I look at they're playing Kusinov, I think they played him right back, and I don't like the other guy at left back.
Nico O'Reilly.
No, was he at left back?
Yeah.
No, I don't like the fella that's inside him.
Oh, Guardiola.
Million defender. Don't like him. Don't like him. I think he's too easy. I just think they're there to be got at. I genuinely do. And it done nothing to have a goal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was my takeaway from it, was that for how poor United were, they had a couple of really good opportunities in on City's goal. Like, this is not the Man City of 3-4 years ago, like an unstoppable Terminator of a football team. Like, if Man United were not so terrible, and I think Donnarumma actually made a couple of half-decent saves in the first half when we were doing our show, that he kept the score, or he kept Man United off the score sheet completely. But like, I feel so sorry for Brian Mbeumo. I mean, he made his own bed. He took the money. He went to Manchester United, but he's got to be. Yeah, Chris Hockley, they're saying the same thing. I feel for Mbeumo. Like, he's got no help whatsoever. Like, Benjamin Sesko is a donkey.
He just looks so disinterested, and what made me laugh today was one in particular where United got a corner down on their left wing, Man City's right. It was near the end of the half, or maybe 10 minutes from the end of the half, and the ball's about to be crossed in by Bruno Fernandes, and he actually kicks it, and as he kicks it, the ref blows the whistle and calls, I think it's De Ligt and City defender over to him. And the City defender's hanging out a little bit and all this, and he's going basically saying to them, lads, give it over, whatever. And they're making this big thing of crowding the goalkeeper and moving, basically saying, do you know what happened to us on the opening day of the season against Arsenal? We're going to do the exact same here, right? And then Bruno Fernandes puts a really decent ball into the area where you think, right, let's stop the keeper from doing anything with this. And Donnarumma just comes out and clubs the thing with his hand like Fred Flintstone about 40 yards up the pitch. Like, I'm like, lads, all that movement was pointless. There was no conviction in what you're trying to do. But listen, leave them at it. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. If anyone's around at 10 in the morning to join me, and if you watched any football over the weekend, feel free to drop in and tell me how you feel, and any games you watched, anything you noticed, and we'll do that for half an hour or so tomorrow morning. That's about it. Anything else before we go?
I should get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. No, I was lucky enough because the weather rained us out all weekend that I watched all of the games this weekend. And let me tell you, Gav, it was shit. There were some fucking brutal games this weekend. So, yeah. But at least, as much as Kev despises Dominic Szoboszlai playing it right back, something he likes even less, which is Ange Postecoglou at Nottingham Forest, was even worse. So
yeah, he literally went in and sprinkled his magic dust on Forest, didn't he? And sent them out there to the slaughter. It's fucking unbelievable. Like so far up the pitch, and lads running around going, "I am bollocks." Well, listen, you get what you pay for. Anyway, nothing else from me either. Thanks a million to everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, all that messing. And like I said, if you're interested in the Patreon, go head over there and take it on board and see how you get on. We will be back tomorrow. And like I said, you could get 2 shows tomorrow. You could genuinely get 2 shows because we have to look at loads and we have to fit in loads before the next game. So yeah, keep an eye out. That's been it. That's been the Sunday night show. Thanks to Matt. Thanks everyone in the chat. It's been an absolute pleasure. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.